In the early 20th century, just like African Americans, America's Jewish population were forced to open their own resorts and clubs as they found themselves segregated from joining those for the rest of white America. The Crest Hills Country Club was the second Jewish one to open in the Cincinnati, Ohio region, and its founders were successful businessmen, including the owners of a men's tie and furniture company. In the 1960s, they would sell their original land to become a shopping mall and move to this current location, north of the city in the small area of Amberley. The new country club seemed to be plagued during its first 2 years, with part of the roof ripping off and the building being waterlogged when a tornado hit just 2 years after its construction. The steep ravines along the road were also the site of numerous accidents, including when a man fatally crashed into a tree 100 feet off the road in 1971, and when a man sailed 150 feet down the slope 3 years prior, and was only rescued when a boy walking his dog found him almost 14 hours later.
And then, yeah, here's all the keys for everything. Are those like rooms or something? Numbered for, I don't know, maybe just something to do with the golf course. Because, yeah, here's like for things like, yeah, locker room, poker room, thermo cover. Look at that moss. Oh, and a big ballroom chandelier. And then there's little chandeliers on the sides.
The club would peak in the 1980s with over 400 members. Some of the most famous members were some of the Frisch family, owners of the Big Boy restaurant chain, as well as Natalie Portman's grandparents, and it is rumored that young Natalie visited the club while she was a child. In 1989, a man was arrested after breaking in and rifling through an office, but was caught inside the building before he could take anything. The golf course held weekly PGA tournaments, and the club often held numerous events such as when Nobel Peace Prize winner and former Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres gave a press conference on his campaign for peace in the Middle East in 1997. Crest Hills held numerous black tie auctions, such as one in 1999 meant to imitate the Oscars, with fake paparazzi held outside for the 250 guests arriving to bid on items such as a signed Babe Ruth baseball, a still from the Titanic movies signed by Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, and other memorabilia. That same year, the golf would remove its Jewish requirement for membership, as it had been experiencing a decline in golfers.
Here's the kitchen, and there's still plates and stuff all left. They just left them and they're disgusting now. This is probably the worst part of the whole building. And they had lights strung up for working. This all got left, yeah. They're shoes, they're like bowling shoes or something. But yeah, here's a bunch of white collared tees. Here's a hat and razors and stuff. So yeah, they just like golf clubs, yeah, golf shoes. Here's a bunch of tees. Here's like a signature of, I don't know what the hell that is. Yeah, they just were never allowed to come get their stuff. And he had, yeah, coats for events and things. Dress pants. Okay. Casino.com.
2001.
Okay.
Pity the guy who doesn't gamble.
Yeah, wow, so many lockers. This whole thing is just... Yeah, sauna. Yep. Yeah. There's still towels and like a robe. And it's not quite as big. Yeah, this one. Yeah, the guys literally left their stuff.
The keys are for the lockers.
They're for the lockers, and look at, they had their names on them. Yeah.
That decline continued, and Crest Hills would merge with the other nearby former Jewish club called Losantiville to form the Ridge Club. They continued to operate both buildings until closing Crest Hills in 2003 and planned to sell the land to real estate developers, but ran into a problem. The original zoning for the land designated as parkland, which the City Planning Commission refused to change, forcing the owners to cancel a nearly $8 million deal. A battle spanning half a decade commenced until a judge finally ruled in favor of the country club. But by then, the city had decided they wanted the land and offered an extra $1 million over the initial deal to turn the land into a park, thusly creating Amberley Green, with the golf course reopening as hiking trails and tennis courts being repaired for use. The pool and country club would sit abandoned until February 2025, when grants were secured to fund the demolition, which would be completed over the course of 6 weeks. In time, Amberley Green's history will come even harder to recognize, as its fairways and clubhouse grounds grow over for the community to enjoy its tranquil parklands.